Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we need to let our international guests go. Thank you very much, Julian, and Brendan, thank you for joining us, and we wish you well. And so while they click off, we're going to have a 10-minute break, but just before we let these panellists go, because I'm not sure they're coming back into the room, were there any other burning questions for the panellists that we still have here? Yes.
Chris, you mentioned about the AFLPA.
Yep.
Is there any chance at some stage they're going to grow a set and actually represent the players? Because really, I think that, and I spoke to a lawyer early on in the saga, he said the players have to challenge the employment contract. Is that ever going to be something that we're going to see? Because I think the players are only going to have a voice when they challenge this contract, because the AFL have got them.
I'd agree with that. I think the issue is that, as I said, I made it pretty clear, is that with the funding that the AFLPA received from the AFL, they cannot possibly be independent. They cannot be possibly independent. I had an experience when, in the Essendon situation, where I was acting for some assistant coaches, and some of their funding for their legal came from the AFL Coaches Association, and I was told by the AFL Coaches Association in no uncertain terms to say, because I also had a position there on their board, to either stop acting for the coaches in the Essendon situation, or alternatively either act for the coaches and not be on the board, or be on the board and not act for the coaches. And I would be quite frank and honest to tell you that I was given some promise of perhaps a better situation, that I was not acting for those coaches. And this is an organisation that all of its funding comes from the AFL, and they get a pittance, 800 grand or something per annum. No, both those organisations cannot possibly be independent of the AFL, and in my view, they cannot possibly be representing their members. The other issue too is that in recent times, I've been acting for some Essendon players in returns of their compensation claims. Again, and I'll be quite frank, is that a certain way how I was handling those cases, and also is that I think I got my clients a pretty good compensation sum, to be frank, is that the PA had contacted me to say that perhaps you shouldn't run it that hard, perhaps you should just accept this. Like, the end of the day is that the AFL and the PA have got to get it right, is that your ultimate duty as a lawyer is to represent your client, and that nothing more, nothing less. And these organisations, as I said, just don't get that. The AFL particularly almost thinks it's a law above itself, of its own.